Hi everyone, comedian SK Humor here. I'm anything but simple, but I will try to keep this podcast simple enough so that it won't be too distracting because of my nature. My nature as an ADHD sufferer. Well, I'm not good at multitasking, but at the same time not good at thinking one thing at a time also. Well, every day I'm have to be running on adrenaline, right? But recently I get on that no fap again. If you read Reddit, then you know search about no fap, then you know what I'm talking about. And for those who already know what I'm talking about, then no need to explain here. So basically, in my last podcast, if you go on my iTunes account, you can see that I talk about how men could have unlimited superpower if they try no fap. Literally, the nature dictated the man be more stronger in every way if the nature needs you to reproduce. Therefore, we need to avoid stimulation from porn and the fap in order to unleash this power. So the nature knew that, okay, this guy is stuck in life. The subconscious will put itself into work and help you solve problem. It makes you intense and makes you go out and crush it. Just like the movie Crank, the Jason something, I forgot to search up how to pronounce his name, but in the movie Crank, the guy who got poisoned and he need adrenaline for non-stop for an hour in order to survive. Yeah, so basically this is what men's like if we want to achieve success in life. I want to talk about a couple of things. Let's talk about I myself am victims of child abuse, emotional abuse and everything. I heard that people who had been abused in the past emotionally, verbally, physically or sexually, on average they have a shorter lifespan. According to the Harvard study, those who have a bad relationship with moms, they earn much less, they have less quality of life. It takes them a long time before they become the same again as their peers. By the time they get 80s maybe. So I need to go over and above to compensate my disadvantage here. And let's talk about MGTOW. Man goes their own way. So because of my experience with my mother, I have a lot to say, a lot to sympathize with men in that movement, right? The MGTOW movement. I would definitely think myself as a free man or keep trying to be. I don't want to label myself, but I definitely not a purple pill guy anymore. Well, recently I have been influenced by the MGTOW leader, one of them, Sandman. His videos were so intellectual. I consider myself a very intellectual and complicated person, but this guy really every video, he gave me some very good perspective, good angle to think about. But then what I don't like is I think he always have a negative takes at the end, like toward the end. The solution were not too obvious. The solution were not like exactly positive. I know this world, to be realistic, is not positive. But then I do believe there are good solutions out there for the predicament of man. As a man, I want nothing more than having a lot of children, have a woman to die for. But realistically, it's not possible. There is a gender war, and the gender war come to men. Men don't want it, but it comes to them. What else do you want men to do, right? The divorce, the custody battle, and losing assets over divorce, and women seeing men as utility these days. We just have to inform ourselves and each other what to do. Right now, I'm living in a messy room, a tiny, messy room, and it doesn't do really good to my mental health. But comparing with living with my mother, which was both shameful, is too dependent on others, and at the same time very detrimental to my mental health. Not because of just the nagging, it's extreme nagging and extreme volatile tantrum that threw at me. It never stopped. It started since I was like maybe 3 or 4 or something, ever since I remember. Well, and my whole family were pit against me most of my teenage years, even the early young adult years. But then I learned, I swagger up. I learned to charm my parents. But it was too late. For many years I had been that bad black sheep of my household, of the family, and the damage over the year had been done, and it was too late to rebuild anything, too late to get even with the golden child, with my family, the abuse, all the subliminal messages. Now, do you know when women or your parents get you very angry, and then how would that manipulate you? Because when you were angry, your subconscious is like open to suggestions. It's open to conditioning. That's why abusive people like to get under our skin, make us angry, because it put us in the defensive. Not just that, but also make us more suggestible. And I was the victim of that. I don't want to be a victim. I want to succeed. I want to find my muscularity. I want to live a life of adventure. Just watching the Star Wars trailer, the second one, and I was like so emotional when I watched it, because that movie was kind of about the adventure of a boy, from boy to man, and from man to into old age, like the old Han Solo, and how they have a life of adventure and personal quest. They were not guys who settle, but they were guys on their path to mastery, to seeking personal growth and development. It touched me on the deepest core, and not just me, right? Many people who watched that trailer were crying. So in the future, I might also write about how women can get men in these days and age, because I'm in Toronto, and I heard that men don't want to get into relationships anymore, and there are problems, but I don't think I don't think it's not worth solving. I think we still worth to be solved. I think throughout the centuries, over the many years, we had handled so much problem, we have solved so much problem, we have come a long way. There are no reason that we can deal with it. So, wow, this podcast is much, time flies more than I expect. So, hopefully it makes sense to you. What I'm talking about is I want my YouTube channel and my podcast to be chronicle of my personal growth, like a diary. I've posted some of my pickup woman footage on YouTube, and you see how I fail, you see how I talk, you see how much I need to improve, and you also see me doing my comedy in a tiny room. So why should you care about my comedy? And that's because even when I'm telling jokes, there might be some truth in it. There might be something that might inspire the world in my jokes. And also this is my path to grow as a man. I'm seeking the path to mastery. I'm trying to reconcile with my innate masculinity, which was long lost, which was repressed almost all my life. And not just my family life, but my church life, my spiritual life. I bought into some unhelpful paradigms, and all my life there was fear, there was people telling me what it is, but turned out to be wrong. Now I am pretty grown up, right? And now I can finally, almost like for the first time in my life, pursuing something that I really care and believe in, and I also can finally live away from not just my mom. During university, I also lived away from her and from others. But back then, I was still in the church, the Christian church, not Catholic church. So all my life, someone always tell me what to do, what to believe, or I keep finding out there was loopholes, there was inconsistency, something wasn't right, but I didn't quite know what it was until the internet became more and more mature. There are more and more useful information I can research on. So there you go. This is the birth of my boy channel, a channel about how to recapture our lost purpose, our lost path. What do you do if most of your life you were brainwashed? Most of your life you were in fear? Most of your life you were being conditioned or even abused as a child. And what do you do? Now this is my life. I'm going to show you. No guarantee that I will get there, but I'm working pretty hard, and you can see it in my blog, in my YouTube channel, in my podcast. So I will talk to you again tomorrow, and what should be the topic of this podcast. There are many things I'm talking about. I will not be the same as Sandman or other men there, because I don't exactly think like most men. Like I said, I'm ADHD. I have so many problems. So what I do is maybe I will just joke a little bit here and there, talk about topic here and there, and it is up to you to reconnect everything. I don't believe it is such a hard job that for you. And I have so much more to talk about, but I will talk to you again tomorrow. Please like me and subscribe to this channel and check out my blog, and the link is below.